Hey guys, what's going on? Back with another video. How's everybody doing? We're back with the Week 10 picks. We're doing Week 10 in the NFL. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet. You know, season's just blowing by us here, unfortunately. But you know, the silver lining is, you know, we're getting to the best games of the year. The best games of the year are scheduled at the beginning of the year. They put all the crap games because this, you know, ratings and holiday advertisements and you know, it's just this is when they put. You know, their best, you know, most viewed games, so to speak. So, Week 10, here we go. Thursday night, Chargers at Oakland. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You know, I kind of root for Oakland in a way. You know, really for the nostalgia of if nothing else, of Gruden and the whole thing. But you know, they're already going to Las Vegas, so it's kind of. I don't know, kind of coming to an end down there. It's kind of like I'm sick and tired of these teams moving to other. Like one of them made sense. Like the Rams going to Los Angeles made some sense because at one point in time that's where they were from, right? The Rams, they were the LA Rams for years and years, and then they went to St. Louis. So I mean, it's them going to Los Angeles. That made some sense. But pretty much every other move, you know, the Chargers to Los Angeles, stupid move. Should go back to San Diego. Raiders going to Las Vegas. Stupid move. It's because the cheapskate owner doesn't want to build a stadium in Oakland. That's why. You know, and then they're talking about, like, you know, a team's going to go to London or something like that. You know, they were talking about, you know, the Chargers could go. Just stupid. Just go back. Like, the Chargers should go back to San Diego. The Raiders should stay in Oakland, but they need a new stadium. It's just, you know, none of these people want to pay for it. You know, and then you've got, like, the only other teams I could think, like, making any sort of a move would make any sense would be like the Cardinals, maybe not really. You know, they're pretty well established there. But the Bengals, but they're never gonna move that team. The Buccaneers suck. And then, you know, maybe you could make a case for like I don't know, like Atlanta doesn't really seem like they have a strong fan, but there's certain teams where it's like, you know, maybe you could have a conversation about it, but like. Chargers should go back to San Diego. The Raiders should stay, you know, in Oakland. And, you know, this thing, let's talk about, you know, a team going to London. Like, just stay where you are. Just leave it the way it works fine. Leave it alone. But, you know, so it's like I do kind of root for Oakland and Gruden and the whole thing. Just, you know, just for, like, the 2001 nostalgia, if nothing else. So, anyways, what are you going to do? So, the Chargers 4-5. The Raiders are 4-4. The Raiders, though, pretty ballsy things that the Raiders have been doing the last few weeks here. So, the Raiders, last week, they beat the Lions 31-24. The week before that, they almost beat Deshaun Watson and the Texans, but then they ended up falling 27-24. You know, lost to the Packers, beat the... I mean, so, like, beating the Bears, the Lions, almost beating the Texans, like, it's pretty ballsy right there. Like, that shows you. So this team's got some mettle, got some grit. You know, so it's like, then you look at the Chargers. I feel like the Chargers are the best team I've ever seen at, like, managing to lose game. Like, managing to, like, you know, oh, look, we're going to win. We're up, you know, 24-12, and then, you know, there's, like, a pick, and then there's, you know, guys fumbling balls, you know, coverage busts, guys running down the, like... Somehow they managed to lose these games, like games that, you know, they that were within reach. But, you know, I guess that makes the Chargers the Chargers. Anyways, it's in Oakland. I really like what Oakland's been doing. I got Oakland winning this game. But just to talk a little bit about Oakland for a second here, if you look at, you know, the standings here for a second, or not specifically the standings, if you look at the playoff picture, so the NFC is absolutely stacked. Like, I mean, we've done this before. 11 of the 16 teams in the NFC, you can make the case for playoff teams. And only 6 of them are going to make it. But, like, there's a lot of great teams that are going to make it. Like, right now, this is who's on the outside looking in, okay? The Rams, the Panthers, the Eagles, the Lions, the Bears, and then the other teams, you know, not so hot. But, like, you get the idea. You look at the AFC, there's the Patriots, the Ravens, you got the Chiefs, and the Texans, and then it's like, Bills, all right. I mean, they don't really have much of an offense. I mean, not really sure what that quarterback situation there. Okay, you know, and then the Colts, Jacoby Brissett is out now. Like, they down to the 3rd string quarterback. That's not, and that's the 6th seed. That's not even a wild card team, right? And then the 8th seed, so the 7th seed, so in terms of teams that are on the outside looking at it, goes Steelers, 7th seed, Raiders, 8th seed. And the Steelers and Raiders are even at 4-4. So it's like, it's, you know, Colts lose a game. Raiders, I mean, the Raiders could make it into the playoffs. So, and I've liked what I've seen from them. But, we'll see what happens. The next game up, Kansas City Chiefs at Tennessee Titans. Not really sure what Patrick Mahomes' status is going to be for this game. Kansas City got absolutely gashed by the Minnesota Vikings. They won, like, in the closing minutes. Like, I don't really know how you feel good about the win over Look, Minnesota is not one of the best teams in the league, okay? In Kansas City, jeez, that Kansas City's defense is straight up trash. It's garbage. They can't stop anything. I'm watching this Minnesota game. I guess Minnesota's Minnesota's more, the talent in Minnesota's on the defense. Kirk Cousins, come on, you just saw Kirk Cousins made some awful throws in this game. You're watching this thing, the odds are, you pick any other quarterback, not any other quarterback. There's some bad quarterbacks, but if you pick the field instead of Kirk Cousins and you field of quarterbacks and you put them in there for Minnesota on Sunday, Minnesota probably would have won because it gets down to the closing stage of this game. Cousins is throwing it in the sideline over guys' heads. They had every opportunity to win that game, and so it wasn't really good Kansas City as much as it was bad Minnesota. They're in Tennessee this week. Tennessee has regressed in a bad way. They're 4-5. You look at sort of strength of schedule here. Who they who they beat, who they've lost to. They lose to the Panthers last week, who just put Cam Newton on IR. They got the backup quarterback playing. You lost to them. You barely beat the Buccaneers the week before. You barely beat the Chargers the week before that. Week before, you were shut out by the Broncos, who suck. I don't know. It's Tennessee. I was high on Tennessee last year, right? They're winning a lot of games. They were in the playoffs the year before. They blow out New England. It's wow, Tennessee, look at this. And then they just completely fell apart. And now they're 4-5 and they suck. Mariota, not a Mariota guy, I'll tell you right now. I don't know. That's the thing that's kind of astonishing to me is if you look at it 15 years ago, right? You had Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Roethlisberger, Rivers, this, and then you had these great coaches. You had Belichick, Coughlin, and you had what the hell's his name in Pittsburgh, right? You had coaches then. You had what's his name? The Saban was in the NFL for a time. Harbaugh. You had both of them. There's just been a talent, just talent drain. A coach and quarterback in the NFL. I don't really know how you I don't know how you how you explain it. It's I don't know, you can't say that there's you had some guys go to college, Saban's in college, Harbaugh's in college, but other than that, I don't, are the kids soft now? I don't know. It's just kind of there's been this decline. So anyways, so it's you just a lack of talent. You got the best, some of the best guys in the league are the old guys, right? Breeze, Brady, you got Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are coming up, but it's the way they play. How long can they play till they get hurt? You look at what happened to Cam Newton, RG3, those types of guys. They don't last very long. So anyways, all right. So yeah. So anyways, I got Kansas City winning this game. Tennessee just sucks. All right, so yeah, give me Kansas City. Next game up, Cardinals and Tampa Bay. Let's not waste any time here. Give me Cardinals. Giants and Jets. Oh god, this is trash. The Giants are 2-7. The Giants. You know what? Give me give me the Giants in this game. Jets suck. Jets over here losing to the Miami Dolphins. I don't want to waste time talking about trash games. But anyways. Atlanta at New Orleans, give me New Orleans. Buffalo at Cleveland, give me Buffalo. Baltimore at Cincinnati, give me Baltimore. Man, these are pretty easy. Give me Baltimore. Detroit at Chicago. So this is an interesting one. So you look at this. You look at this situation right here. The Detroit Lions, I feel who've done nothing for forever. Matt Patricia comes in there, and like last season, yeah, they had some, they were up and down, and then this season, it's like you're 3-4-1, you're sitting there, I mean, it probably one of the most competitive years ever, in the NFC at least, and it's like you get the Packers in front of you, you get the Bears who kind of have a feisty defense in the same division, you get the Vikings who can flash, and you're sitting here on the outside looking in, right? I mean. You get the 49ers in first place, the Saints, Packers, Cowboys, Seahawks, Vikings. Like it's like I'm just curious to see what would have happened if this year wasn't like this outstanding year for the NFC, where you've got all these teams on the outside looking in that in any other year would be Super Bowl contenders. So it's like you can't. It's hard to assess kind of the Lions, but it feels like I don't know they're building towards something. Stafford, I don't know how much more he has left in the tank, so they're going to have to reset at that position. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know with this Lions team. It's like, it feels like they're going somewhere. Then you get the Bears on the other hand. Bears, woof. I mean, you look at this Bears team, and it's like Mitch Trubisky. Holy smokes, man. He's bad. You lose to the Eagles. You lose to the Chargers. You lose to the Saints. You lose to the Raiders. So you've lost how many in a row? So it's like if you just do some math here, you're 3-5. So what is it? Like you won 3 and then lost 5? Like, gee, I mean, you watch Trubisky. Holy cow, he is bad. He blows. All right, so, anyways, you give me Detroit win this game. Trubisky sucks. All right, so next game up, Dolphins at the Colts. Even without Jacoby Brissett, the Dolphins suck. They got their first win last week, which, I mean, they clearly weren't trying to tank hard enough. Next thing up, Rams at Pittsburgh. Give me the Rams. Yeah, give me the Rams. Next game, Panthers at Green Bay. Give me the Green Bay Packers, who pretty ugly loss on Sunday. I'll tell you that. I mean, if this is what happens. This is what happens with the Packers every single year. Okay, the Packers lose to the Chargers. I mean. It's like you get Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers he doesn't want to set his feet, throw the ball, nice, sustained drive, move. No. He wants to play hero ball, gunslinger, 4 seconds left throwing Hail. Like that's why the Packers have chronically underachieved. Is they're a terrible regular season team. Okay, like they don't take the regular season series, week in and week out. Whenever now they've been good this year. They got some talent, right? Aaron Rodgers playing well. He's up this year, and so it's like, okay, look, they're gonna have themselves a year, but then they put themselves in these stupid situations where you go in, against a team like the Chargers, where you should be able to beat given the way you've been playing. You're not setting your feet, you're just slinging it all over, you're running all up and down. It's like just hand it off, short pad, just control, like it's not too busy trying to make these highlight reel plays. I mean, they're not consistent. That's when they're not a consistent regular season week to week team. They're just not. That's why you that's why you lose to teams like the Chargers. But anyways, I said the Packers winning this game. It's in Green Bay. The Panthers suck. So anyways, Minnesota at Dallas Sunday night. Is this? No, this isn't the game of the week. The game of the week's the next game, Monday night, Seattle at Sanford. That is good. That is a game, and that might be the running for the game of the year, possibly, depending on how it goes down. But Minnesota, Dallas. Dallas. They beat the bad teams. They lose to the good teams. It's usually a sign of a weak team. So you look at that team. Look at Minnesota. I feel like Minnesota. They're 6-3, not doing so bad. They did lose. NFC Championship game a few years ago. Couldn't quite get it done last year. But they do have talent, I feel like Kirk Cousins, he's not the worst quarterback. I know I was ripping him earlier, but he's not the worst. He's not the worst guy you could have. But he's serviceable. He can get the job done. But, it just comes down to the fact that you look at how stacked the NFC is. It's like, are they going to get past the Saints without fluke plays at the end of the playoffs again? No. Are they going to get past, to Seattle, San Francisco? No. So it's seems like it's all for naught. But Minnesota's a talented team. It's a talented team. Thielen and Diggs, they got a good offense. I respect Minnesota. Going to Dallas on a Sunday night. I mean, let's look at who Dallas has beaten and who they've lost to. I mean, it's sort of it's sort of like what I said. They beat the bad teams, they lose to the good teams. So they blew out the Giants the other night, which was kind of a close game for a while. They beat the Eagles. They blew out the Eagles 2 weeks prior. So that's, it's good. But they didn't lose to the Jets. You lost to the New York Jets. It's like, you lost to the Packers. I don't know what to say there because you lost to great teams and the terrible teams. I think that goes back to coaching, and they get that clapper of a coach on the sideline. So I don't know. I don't really think that the Cowboys have never been a team with much intestinal fortitude, at least in like the last 20 years. So it's just kind of, it's a fake 5-3. It just sort of is. You're hosting Minnesota. You won last week against the bad Giants. Give me the Vikings winning this game. All right, next game up, the most important game. This is the most important game of the week. Seattle Seahawks at San Francisco 49ers. NFC West grudge match. The San Francisco 49ers are the last undefeated team in the NFL at 8-0. So it's like, are they 9-0 or are they 8-0? I think they're 8-0. Yeah, no, because they had a bye, so it was 8-0-9. Yeah. 8-0, last undefeated team in the NFL. They've played pretty much crap teams to this. Look, San Francisco's not going undefeated, okay? They've got, like, all really hard games. Every team, basically, or every good team, plays relatively easy games early in the year because, like I said, they schedule the best games, ergo the hardest or the most, competitive games, for this part of the year. So, this is one of those games. This is one of those, like, bellwether, just weather vane. This is a litmus test, okay? This is going to tell us if the 49ers are for real. They're for real, but it's going to tell us if they're not soft, but, if you can do the same things the 49ers have been doing, offense, defense, passing, everything they've been doing. If you do that against this, 7-2 Seahawks team, which is has got as much metal and grit, and Russell Wilson, who's making plays out of his mind this year. If you can do it to them, then you're legit. Then you're in the conversation. I still put New Orleans in number one in the NFC. But then you're if not one, then 1A. And the NFC. I put them like my power rankings at least right now. I had New England number one, but after they lost to the Ravens, which. And so they're off this week. So the Patriots and the Ravens are off this week, but I do want to talk about that game. It was an important game. But as far as this game goes, I just think I got Seattle winning this game because I feel like I feel like this is the first time all season that the 49ers have encountered or going to encounter, something like this. I think thus far they haven't encountered, a situation like the Seahawks. It is in San Francisco, but. It's all West Coast, so this isn't like, like the Cardinals going to play the Jets. It's not like one of those, games where it's like, just jet lag and whatnot. But, yeah, I don't really think playing in San Francisco is very hard. The Seahawks playing in Seattle, I think that's a tough place to play. But, I just feel like the metal and the grit and the mental toughness and the big playability that Seattle has, I don't feel like San Francisco has enough experience with that. I feel like San Francisco is going to lose this game. I guess Seattle won this game tonight. So Baltimore and New England are off, but I did want to talk about those two teams because they not only both happen to have bye weeks this week, but they both played each other. Last week, Sunday night, the Ravens came away with the W. I felt it was an important game because it showed that, and I know people say, like, it showed the blueprint on how you beat the Patriots. I don't agree with that. I think it was one of those situations where it's like, those are two great playoff teams that are going to, more likely than not play each other again in January. It's one of those things where it's like whoever won last night or not last night, but whoever won, the first game is going to lose the second game. Whoever, you want to be the team that learns the lessons for the second game. You know what I mean? You don't want to look, we won the first one, we were better than them. Because you want to be the team that is the one that's making the adjustments and knows how to play the other team the second time around. You know what I mean? You don't want to just eke out some ugly win and get stomped. The greatest example of all time of this, of course, is the last undefeated New England team in 2007, who played the New York Giants at the last week of the regular season. They eked out this win, probably should have lost. New England beat the Giants, but it wasn't. it wasn't a game that made the Giants feel bad. It kind of gave them some motivation. Like, hey, we were able to hang in there with this team. Sure enough, a few weeks later they played each other in the Super Bowl. The Giants made the adjustments and they were able to eke out the win in the Super Bowl. I mean, you can talk about the fluke plays and everything, but nonetheless, you want to be the team. Historically, history shows us you want to be the team that's making the adjustments and is better the second season. You don't want to play your best football in the postseason, not in the regular season. You know what I mean? You want to lose the right game. You want to have the learning experience be in the regular season when you can adjust for the playoff game as opposed to the other way around. So that's kind of how I feel about that. As far as what Baltimore did, I want to say it showed a blue. I mean, it didn't show us anything people didn't already know. I think Baltimore's offense to begin with is New England has the best defense in the league, and so for Baltimore to win, I don't think it's necessarily that Baltimore is the best offense in the league because they sure as hell don't. It's just late motions, RPOs, misdirect, things that can throw off a defense. The trickeration, that's something that throws a team through a loop the first time they see it. Now that you've put all your best stuff on film, the second time around they're going to be ready for that, and then now you're not going to be able to run the ball like you did, and now Lamar Jackson's going to have to stand there and throw it 20 yards down the field. Can he do that for 60 minutes? No. So now they it's kind of one of those things where you put all your chips in the middle. You put your best stuff on film. And now it's kind of going to be interesting to see what happens the second time around. So, did Baltimore show the blueprint for beating the Patriots? I mean, in a way, because that blueprint historically has always given the Patriots trouble. Mobile quarterbacks, RPOs, misdirections, late motions, crossing routes, chipping with the tight end on a crossing route. Those things have always given the Patriots problems. However, if that's all your team can do on offense and you kind of don't have a great defense and they know you know them. You're playing again in January. It's going to be in their building. The odds don't look good there. I mean, should they show the blueprint? I mean, it's kind of the blueprint to beat any team. Tell me what other team was going to defend the Ravens. I mean, if you look at the Ravens so far this year, and you can't really count the first couple weeks because they're kind of figuring things out. It's kind of Lamar Jackson's first go. I mean, he did play last year, but they were kind of a run first team. They weren't really fully operational, if you will. Week 1, they blow out the Dolphins 59-10. They beat the Cardinals 23-17. Then they lose to the Chiefs, which, you're going to lose to the Chiefs. But it's show me a defense that, show me a defense that saw Lamar Jackson doing everything they did, in a fully operational way like they did on Sunday night, and then lost to them a second time around. I mean, now you can make the argument that, this is his, this is his first full actual real season here. So it's you can make that argument, but at the same time, it's how long can you be taking snaps out of the pistol? How long is that game plan going to work before teams figure it out? The first time it's like that expression, fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me. So you can do that for a while, but eventually teams are going to be okay. Here's what we're going to do. Don't fall for the misdirection. Don't jump off sides. Just play zone. Stay in your lane. Sit on the routes. Keep them in the box. Don't get behind them. Make them throw. And eventually all that stuff doesn't work and you have to figure something else out. So, I mean, it's just one of those situations where, I think that, New England will win the second time around. I feel like Baltimore's going to win a lot of games like that. But, they're going to get to, later in the season, teams are going to start realizing, okay, look, this is what we're going to have to do to stop them. And then it's going to be interesting to see what Baltimore does after that. So, other than that, those are my picks for this week. Hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Other than that, until next time, I'm going to do this one, guys. Thanks for watching.